Hi guys, Vicki Nicole here. Today I'm coming to you with a video about how I eliminated my sugar addiction and how I stopped my cravings, because a lot of people have issues with sugar cravings, and that's one of the main things that gets in the way of them losing weight is your sugar cravings. And I understand that because I had that for a while. So ever since I was young, I have been obsessed with sweets and sugary foods. I remember putting loads of sugar in my cereal, like cornflakes, or I remember putting loads of sugar in my mom used to make homemade yogurt, and I remember putting loads of sugar in that when I was a child. I also remember stealing candy bars from the corner store when I was like 12 years old. Later, when I lived with my grandparents as a teenager, I would take stacks and stacks of my grandfather's peanut butter cookies, and I would eat them in my bedroom late at night, and then I would sometimes hide the package under the bed so that my grandfather would just think, I was 13 years old, so I thought that he would just think that he didn't have any more or whatever. But I used to take stacks and stacks of his cookies and just eat them when I was like 13 years old. When I became old enough to buy my own food, most of what I bought was sugary foods. I remember once when I was probably around 18 years old, I actually went on an ice cream diet where I decided that in order to lose weight that I would only eat ice cream. And back then I didn't know anything about weight loss or how to lose weight back then. So I thought that if I just ate one type of food, that I would lose weight. And of course you can imagine how that went. I ended up gaining weight from eating too much ice cream. My sweets addiction really ramped up around 2001. That's when I began eating entire packs of cookies and gallons of ice cream. I think it was me trying to soothe myself because I had untreated depression, which eventually manifested into clinical manic depression. After that, I found it impossible to go one day without a huge serving of some kind of dessert. I craved sugar all the time. Typically, I would eat cupcakes or cake, but I have been known to eat an entire pumpkin pie in one day. Eventually, eating sweets became an overwhelming, constant craving. And because of that, I was never able to lose weight long term. I always reverted back to eating massive amounts of desserts because of my cravings or feeling deprived. In 2018, I became a vegetarian, so I stopped eating dairy. And because of that, I stopped eating ice cream. I also stopped eating yogurt and anything else that was dairy with, that was a sweet dairy, I stopped eating in 2018. In 2019, I decided I wanted to tackle my sugar addiction and sugar cravings. The first thing I did to reduce my sugar cravings was eat more sugar. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I did. I let myself eat cake or cupcakes every week without feeling guilty. I did that for a few months in 2019. At the beginning of 2019 is when I did that. Then I worked with my therapist to slowly reduce how much dessert I was eating each week. We did it very slowly. I went from eating an entire 36-count tray of cookies in a day to slowly reducing it to about 10 cookies per week, then 5 for the week, then half a slice of cake. So we did this slowly and methodically over the rest of the year. I reported to my therapist every week exactly how much desserts I had eaten. So I was keeping count, I was paying attention to it. I wasn't just mindlessly eating desserts. I was paying attention to how much I was eating, exactly how much I was eating, and I would report that to my therapist. So I had accountability on what I was eating as far as dessert. Eventually, I cut cookies out completely, but I was still eating a little bit of cake and cupcakes. So I told myself, eat them if you want now, but on January 1st, 2020, you can't have it at all except on your birthday. So I made a goal around, I would say around October of 2020. I said, you know what? You can have this every week. Not as much. I wasn't eating as much, but I said, you can have this every week for now. But on January 1, 2020, you're going to cut it out completely except on your birthday. And that's what I did. And on January 1, 2020, I stopped eating dessert completely. I think the first month I ate a half a piece of cake once for the whole month. I was surprised I could even do that. Then once in February 2020, I had a piece of red velvet cake at TGI Fridays, and it didn't taste that great. After that, I didn't eat dessert again until my birthday on May 5th. On my birthday, I had 3 cupcakes. The interesting thing is the cupcakes didn't taste as good as I was expecting them to taste. I no longer really had a taste for sweets. I would say after my birthday of 2020, my sugar craving was gone. For the rest of the year, I had a bite of a cupcake twice because I think there was somebody at the mall. I think there was like a black lady at the mall selling cupcakes and I wanted to support her. So I bought like a lemon cupcake. I took one bite out of it and I threw it in the trash. And I think I did that twice. And then I had 2 macaroons at some point in December 2020 because there was a new macaroon shop that opened down the street from my house and I was just curious how they taste, which they were delicious, but I did have 2 macaroons. And then on New Year's Eve, I had bread pudding, but that was planned for a month. So I actually planned to have bread pudding because I decided that I didn't want to cut that out completely. And I decided that on New Year's Eve, I could have bread pudding, and on my birthday, I could have cake. I also cut out alcohol completely on January 2020, except on Christmas and New Year's Eve. Alcohol has a high sugar content generally, so my goal was to lower my blood sugar. I cut that out as well. I do monitor my sugar intake every day because there is sugar in the foods I eat, such as my daily oatmeal and my salad dressing. Especially my salad dressing has a lot of sugar in it. My goal is to have 45 grams of sugar a day, but I would say on most days my sugar is about 60 grams per day, which is a big difference from like the 200 or 300 grams of sugar I was eating a day before. The great thing is I never crave sweets anymore. I'm always surprised that I don't crave my usual desserts anymore because they controlled my life for so long. Cutting desserts from my diet is one of the biggest things that helped me lose 80 pounds in 2020. I was looking forward to some carrot cake this year, 2021, and a brownie and other desserts on my birthday this year. So I ate a bunch of cake on my birthday, which is May 5th, and today is June 5th. On my birthday, I ended up eating that cake. I ended up getting nauseous and dizzy, and I ended up passing out. I think it's because I hadn't had that much sugar in over a year. Turns out I can't eat cake anymore, and which is really weird to me, but I can't eat cake anymore. My body just won't tolerate it. I can eat some other desserts. There are some desserts that I can't eat. For instance, for all of May, I ended up eating a lot more sweets than I was expecting. Like for all of May, I pretty much just went crazy for the whole month, eating whatever sweets I wanted. So I had brownie, I had peach cobbler, I had banana pudding, I had bread pudding. Let's see, what else did I have? I had peanut butter cookies. I had a cupcake. Yeah, so I did end up eating way more desserts, and I also drank a couple of margaritas in May, but I decided on June 1st, cut it all out again, so I did cut it all out. I wasn't craving it or anything like that, and what happened was, I thought it was just cake that I couldn't eat, but I had some churros about a week ago, and I got super dizzy walking home. I ended up not even eating dinner that night. I just got in bed and went to sleep because I didn't feel good. So there's some sugar I just can't eat anymore, and I don't know what it is, which sugars it is. So I just don't eat it at all. But I know I can still have bread pudding because I have bread pudding more regularly now. Actually, what happens is anytime I go to a restaurant that has bread pudding in it, I will eat bread pudding there. So actually this Wednesday, I'm going to a restaurant and they have bread pudding. So I want to try their bread pudding. But other than that, I don't eat any sugar. I don't drink alcohol. I just don't do anything with sugar anymore. So that is how I got rid of my sugar cravings. If you guys were curious, I know some people want to know how to get rid of your sugar cravings, and that is what I did, and it worked really well. And like I said, I never crave sugar anymore. Anyway, you guys, that is my story. Please give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and comment. I would really appreciate it as it helps out my channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.